Good morning to one and all. Teaching Tree presents the story of Pinocchio. Once upon a time, an old carpenter called Geppetto lived all by himself. He was so lonely, he decided to make a wooden puppet to keep him company. In his workshop, Geppetto carved a little wooden head, a wooden body, and wooden arms and legs. Then he dressed the puppet in clothes like a real boy. I will call him Pinocchio, said Geppetto. The old carpenter looked at the puppet. I wish you were real, he said. I have always wanted a son. Suddenly, by some strange unseen magic, the wooden puppet began to move. Geppetto stared in amazement as it jumped up from the workbench and began to run around the workshop, shouting and waving its arms. Geppetto was overjoyed. He did not understand why his wooden puppet had come to life, but he was very happy. Pinocchio, said Geppetto, I am your father, and tomorrow you will go to school. Maybe one day, if you learn enough, you will become a real boy. That night, when Pinocchio went to bed, he dreamed that a beautiful fairy visited him. I am the blue fairy who looks after all boys, real and wooden, she said. I have brought you a friend to help you to be good. The blue fairy waved her wand and a tiny cricket appeared. The cricket was able to speak. Hello, Pinocchio, it said. I will be your friend and help you to behave properly, like a real boy. Tomorrow we shall go to school together. The next morning, Pinocchio went downstairs with the cricket. Geppetto was very proud that his little wooden son was going to school. Here are 5 gold coins to buy school books with, he said. It's all the money I have in the world, so spend it wisely. Yes, father, said Pinocchio, but the wooden puppet was lying. He did not want to go to school or spend the money on school books. Suddenly, Pinocchio's wooden nose grew longer. Geppetto looked at it and frowned. Pinocchio, he said, why is your nose growing? But the puppet just grabbed the gold coins, shoved them into his pocket, and ran out of the door. The clever cricket knew that Puppet's nose had changed because he told a lie. From that moment on, each time Pinocchio lied, his nose grew longer. Meanwhile, outside the house, Pinocchio heard a lovely music. Let's go to school, said the cricket. But Pinocchio ignored him and followed the music, which led to a traveling puppet theater. I'm going to stay here and become a performer, said Pinocchio. My father won't mind. But when he said this, Pinocchio's nose grew, which meant he was lying. The cricket tried to stop Pinocchio, but the puppet would not listen. Instead of going to school, he traveled with the theatre to a distant land near the sea. Poor Geppetto looked everywhere for his precious wooden son, but Pinocchio was nowhere to be found. After many days, the cricket persuaded Pinocchio to go back home. They set off, and Pinocchio jangled Geppetto's 5 gold coins in his pockets as he walked. Nearby, a cunning cat and a sly fox heard the money jangling. "Where are you going, little wooden boy?" they asked. Pinocchio told them that he was going to home to see his father. "Your father will make you go to school when you could be having fun in the land of play," said the sly fox. "However," said the cat, "nobody who has any money can get in. Money isn't allowed in the land of play." Pinocchio gave the fox and the cat all his money. He would not listen to the cricket, who told him not to. "Tell me the way to the land of play," begged Pinocchio. "I want to go there now." The cat and the fox told Pinocchio where to go. Then they ran off, laughing at how they had tricked the silly puppet out of his money. "Please, Pinocchio, go home to your father," pleaded the cricket. "I don't want to see my father," snapped the puppet. Suddenly his nose grew longer. Pinocchio secretly missed Geppetto, but he refused to go home. The land of play was a huge fair. There were sweets and rides and lot of games to play. It was filled with children who didn't want to go to school, and Pinocchio spent many weeks there. Meanwhile, Geppetto was sick with worry. He searched all over the land for Pinocchio, but there was no sign of him anywhere. Finally, Geppetto reached the sea. Pinocchio must have crossed the water, he thought. Geppetto built a raft to look out for his son. However, far out on the ocean, the raft was swallowed by a huge shark, and Geppetto found himself in its belly. In the land of play, Pinocchio didn't notice the days passing until his ears began to feel strange. They were long and floppy like donkey's ears. Then, when he looked behind him, Pinocchio noticed that he had grown a donkey's tail. "All children who stay here turn into donkeys," said the cricket. "We must escape before you become one too, Pinocchio." However, the gates of land of play were shut. The only way out was by sea, so Pinocchio and Cricket jumped into the water. Great waves rolled and wild sea tossed the pair up and down. After many hours, a huge shark swam by and swallowed the exhausted friends. It was dark inside the shark belly. Suddenly, Pinocchio heard a voice. It was Geppetto. "I'm sorry that I lied and ran away, father," sobbed Pinocchio. Geppetto hugged his wooden son. "I forgive you," he said. They all danced for joy, and the moment gave the shark such a belly ache. It spat them out, and they were washed up on the shore. After that, Pinocchio promised to be a good, and this time his nose didn't grow. Instead, the blue fairy appeared. "Pinocchio, you have learned to tell the truth," she said. "Now you are a real boy." Pinocchio felt the donkey's ears and tail disappear. Suddenly his wooden body was soft and warm. He was a real boy, Pinocchio. Geppetto and Cricket returned home and lived in peace and happiness ever after. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like my channel. See you all. Bye bye.